Bred to Win, brought to you by Arrowfield, the home of four-time champion sire Snitzel.
Hello, I'm Caroline CSE. Welcome to Bred to Win, coming to you from Blue Gum Farm, where shortly we'll feature two exciting young stallions, Sejardan and Flying Artie. Swettenham Stud has had a great run with international sires such as Toronado, and now they welcome Wootton, a son of one of the rising stars of the global breeding industry, Wootton Bassett. And from Yulong Farm, putting a face to the name of a great young talent in the industry, Claudia McDougall, in Arrowfield Stud's Horse Who Made You Love Racing. First though, spring racing action and more in our Aushorse news. A great day of spring stakes racing saw some future stars put up their hands and some previous Group 1 winners show they're on track for more big race success.
Moravia in front from Butch Cassidy. Cylinders out now.
At Rosehill in Sydney, the Darley Godolphin team had plenty to celebrate as their top two-year-old of last season, the Golden Slipper runner-up Cylinder, took out the Group 2 Run to the Rose. His Dam Circular is a Group 3 winner at Flemington and has also produced dual Group winner Parasol, while Cylinder's Grand Dam is a three-quarter sister to Lonro from the Shadea My Trisha line. Now 23, the wonderful Exceed and Excel stands this season at Darley Kelvinside at a fee of $132,000.
But Golden Mile's got a good kick.
Godolphin's second Group win at Rosehill came from last year's Caulfield Guineas winner Golden Mile in the Group 2 Theo Marks, with the son of Astern from the Gimcrack winning Lonro mare Calaverite. Astern, a Golden Rose winning son of Medaglia d'Oro and half-brother to triple Group 1 winner Elise, stands this season at Darley's New South Wales base at a fee of $22,000. The other Group 2 on the program was the Shirako Stakes for a high-quality group of mares, with Sunshine in Paris a dominant winner. Bought at the Magic Millions national sale this year by James Harron Bloodstock for John Camilleri for $3.9 million. She's a daughter of Zabeel mare Zanada, who's also dam of Typhoon Tracy Stakes winner Makrura. Her sire Invader is an ATC Sires Produce Stakes winning son of Snitzel, who stands this year at Aquas Farm in Queensland for $11,000.
Terrific race at the 150. Imperatriz has swept past all of them.
At Moonee Valley, star Tiakal mare Imperatriz broke the 1,000-metre track record with a scintillating win first up. Already a five-time Group 1 winner, the daughter of I Am Invincible is from the Shamardale mare Berrenbow and was bought by David Ellis from the Beamer draft for $360,000 at the 2020 Magic Millions yearling sale. It was a Vinnie Stakes double at the Valley as $1.55 million Magic Millions yearling Charm Stone took out the listed Atlantic Jewel Stakes, while Pinstriped by Darley Street Boss won the Group 2 Fian Stakes. And at Hastings in New Zealand, the Tiakau win of Imperatriz was capped off with further wins by Satono Aladdin's exciting Tokyo Tycoon in the listed Colin Meads Trophy. Quintessa won the prestigious Group 3 Gold Trail Stakes for the fillies. She's by Seamus Award from the High Chaparral mare Chaquinta and featured in our 2022 NZB yearling sale preview at Wentwood Grange before being bought by David Ellis for $170,000. And the Mark Walker training partnership was also successful for the Waikato Stud team as Skew Whiff won the Group 1 Tarzino Trophy. From the Starcraft mare Starvoya, she's a granddaughter of SA Oaks winner Dowry, while for 8-time champion New Zealand sire Probabeel, she was his 32nd individual Group 1 winner.
But Encap's broken clear here. It's Encap 2 lengths in front of Chaya Wolf.
The Inglis Graduate of the Week is the Gary Portelli trained rising star Encap, winner of Saturday's Group 3 Ming Dynasty Quality at Rosehill. He's from the Faux Rogue Plate winner NQR, a daughter of Golden Slipper winner Stratum, and was bought by his trainer from the New Haven Park draft for $200,000 at the 2022 Inglis Easter yearling sale. Encap's sire Capitalist stands this season at Newgate Farm at a fee of $77,000. Blue Gum Farms' new ownership group has successfully negotiated their first yearling sales series, and now they're embarking on their first full season in charge of Victoria's Blue Gum Farm. And it's an exciting time with Sejardan, a first season son of Sebring, being joined by flying Artie, of course, the sire of dual Group 1 winner Artorius. Sean, it's fantastic seeing beautiful green grass here at Blue Gum Farm, and of course you've been through your first yearling sales series as the owners of this great property, and now 2 new stallions starting a new spring as well. It's just such a wonderful time.
It is, Carolyn. We've had a tremendous start, and obviously the yearling sales were a great way for us to come into the business. Now we're going into the cycle of spring and working through our breeding prospects and everything else. We've obviously got a lot of foals on the ground already, and 2 new boys to keep us busy.
Coming off heels is Sejardan, powering through the centre.
We start with Sejardan. He was always such a handsome, talented colt from day one.
We loved the horse, and obviously, you know, one of the things that we loved about the horse was his turn of foot. He showed a great turn of foot in winning his races before Christmas. And then Sejardan did pop onto the radar, and we felt that the opportunity was a great one and that we would take it. Like, at the end of the day, there's some great horses that have won the Breeders' Plate, and the list is of some of the great stallions that are currently standing now have won the Breeders' Plate. Piero, Schnitzel, horses such as that. The Golden Gift's obviously a new race, it's a restricted race, but I think the way that he won the race showed that he was a horse with a great amount of potential. And coming back into the Todman Stakes after Christmas and as a lead up to the Golden Slippery showed that he was able to go to that higher level.
On the outside, Sejardan heading top gear now.
That Todman on that heavy track as well. You know, that is a really tough horse, and obviously doing it not only pre-Christmas, but you know, in one of the major Golden Slipper lead-ups.
Yeah, and who knows, going through that period of time in Sydney when all the tracks were horribly heavy, who knows what he would have done on top of the ground. A horse with his turn of foot, you wouldn't expect them to be able to accelerate and do what he was doing on heavy tracks. So, you know, I think on top of the ground he would have been far more effective myself.
Sweet ride, still 2 lengths in front. Sejardan's chasing hard.
And of course came back and won that Red Anchor Stakes as a 3-year-old. So he really ddid train on. You know, it wasn't just that, you know, that really early 2-year-old period.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he did train on, and he obviously had a couple of issues along the way, but certainly for us, he was a horse that we felt showed enough and came back and did do it at 3, so that we were happy to take the risk on on the basis of Sebring having done such a great job himself and starting to leave sire sons.
Well, he has. Talking about the sire sons, of course, we talk about Cepedo with Buenos Noches. Now, he's been talked of as a serious Everest prospect for this carnival. But, you know, there are plenty of others as well, Gold Standard, and there aren't that many Sebring sons. So he's one of the best of them with that great 2-year-old performance.
Without a doubt, the best of them. So from a race performance perspective, and you know the fact that he's had 2 good sires off very modest service fees come out and throw those types of horses, this horse has to be a great opportunity.
And physically, when you look at him, he's not one of the little nuggety sort of, you know, former good 2-year-olds. He has a lot of bulk and scope and great back end on him, doesn't he?
Absolutely. I mean, when Kathy and I went to look at the horse at Gary Portelli's, we just looked at the horse and had to have him on type. Gary Portelli's famous comment about the horse is that if you were going to paint a horse, you'd paint Sejardan. You know, that's what he thought of him. Yeah. And to this day, you know, he believes that. They've been down with the owners recently and had a look at the horse, loved him. Certainly from our perspective, you know, his shoulder, he's got a great head. Certainly for a Sebring, his head is magnificent. Probably thrown more to Hinchinbrook from that point of view. Got a lovely curved back leg and plenty of depth, and he's let down, and you know, most people when we've paraded him, even when he was 3, I was looking at him thinking he's a 5-year-old. He's so masculine and strong.
Yeah, and the pedigree too. I mean, the dam side, Miss Sejardan, she was a good winner herself, and her third dam is that great mare Procrastinate. But you've also got, obviously through Hinchinbrook being a half brother to Schnitzel, you've got Fastnet Rock in there. You know, there's so much in that pedigree. What do you like most about it?
I think it's a pedigree in the first 3 generation that there's at least 4 serious 2-year-old stallions. And you know, for me, he's only got to replicate his pedigree to be a 2-year-old stallion, and that's where we felt the gap in the market was in Victoria for him, was as a 2-year-old stallion, because there's just not a stallion here at the moment that commands that title as a 2-year-old stallion.
And he's obviously now, he's covered a number of mares, so it's that anxious wait, I guess, to find out everything's working. But he seems to have taken to everything like a duck to water. His temperament is outstanding, and you know, great value, $13,750, and there are shares available too?
Absolutely, yeah, we're still selling shares in him, and you know, obviously to try and give the horse every opportunity, we want people to take the ride with us. And there's been plenty of horses that started off modest service fees, and I'm Invincible is one of them, that end up in a different place. So he's certainly got every opportunity. I think the sire line is very, very strong and probably untapped. So from that perspective, I think he's a great opportunity at a reasonable price, whether you breed to race or commercial.
It's start turn and Flying Artie with a stern. Flying Artie's hit the front lane.
And he's a barnmate, of course, Flying Artie. He's another absolute favourite of mine, a Coolmore Stud Stakes winner, won a Blue Diamond Prelude, a Blue Sapphire too. But, you know, we're talking about his star son, Artorius. He's already really done the job, hasn't he?
He has, and he's a completely underrated horse. Obviously, there's not too many horses that get a dual Group 1 winner out of their first crop. On top of that, he's got Asfura floating around that won last weekend and is a Group 1 horse in the making. You know, I think he's had 5 stakes winners last season. He's sitting in Victoria is equal second in number of stakes winners to Rubik. Toronado sits above them, obviously, but certainly at the price bracket, he's a price point where he is. He's far more value than either of them, and he's just a horse that he's got a big book of mares of yearlings now at 123 foals, and that was off the back of Artorius. So there's some beautifully bred horses coming through, and every week at the moment, you know, he's getting a couple of debut winners. He's had 2 this week. He's had another good winner on Saturday. So, you know, I know there's a lot of positivity about him, and he's a horse where potentially there's a lot of upside.
Yeah, and he's so strong. Like, I just love it, these stallions, when they've, you know, really let down, and he's so masculine. But I also love, of course, Rubiton, who stood here, the Great Cox Plate winner, is his dam sire, and you see it in him. There's so much Rubiton there, which I'm sure a lot of Victorian breeders would look very fondly on. Yeah,
and it's funny you say that, because Tony Williams from Newgate was here yesterday, and he said exactly the same thing. He just couldn't believe, he said, I think I'm looking at Rubiton. You know, so it obviously does come through, and we used to travel here and have mares served by Rubiton, and he was a magnificent horse, and a horse that you'd be proud to have one by.
Artorius is bursting home late. Imperatrice in front. Artorius!
And of course, further down the line now, I guess you know what sorts of mares are going to suit a horse like Flying Artie.
Absolutely, and I think Flying Artie is a horse you have to make carefully. Not so much from a pedigree perspective, because he's that beautiful outcross stallion, but just from a type perspective, you need to send a smaller, neater mare. He's not a horse that suits big scopy mares. So that's the key and the trick to him, and he does throw type when you send the right mare to him.
And it is, as I said, it's just gorgeous down here this time of the year. Obviously winter's, you know, a bit colder in Victoria and a bit wetter, but you get the result of these gorgeous green paddocks. And you, Kathy and yourself, you look as if you're really, really enjoying being here.
Absolutely, it's our dream, so we're living the dream, so we can't be any happier.
In our G1 Goldmine stallion analysis this week, we turn the spotlight on Blue Gum Farm's Sejardan. He has a 2020 match pedigree, and his Golden Slipper winning sire Sebring, with 2 or more stakes winners, crosses best with Probabeel at 15% through Samari and Typing. Street Cry is not far behind at 14%, followed by Shamadal, Danehill, Hassanay at a 6% rate of Group 1 winners to runners, and Schwazir. Sejardan's dam sire more than ready with 3 or more stakes winners, crosses best with Scat Daddy at 50%, including 12.5% Group 1 winners to runners. Hassanay and Lonro are the Australian-based sires to cross best with the great dual hemisphere influence. Two young stallions with great racetrack ability and pedigree, Sejardan and Flying Artie. Coming up on Bred to Win, the Cambridge Stud Performance of the Week, and we visit Adam Sangster's Swettenham Stud, welcoming new son of Wootton Bassett, Woodard.
Oh.
Oh, look what we've got here. When I saw them both, I just couldn't believe it. I was just so excited and I just wanted to go in and give them both a hug. Oh my gosh.
That's the fun of this game, is the anticipation.
Good morning. Good morning, Bubby. No, it's okay. Remember me? It's okay, Bub. Oh,
Good morning, big girl.
Look at what you've done.
Hey, look,
Look what you've done.
she had a motor and a heart, and 2 Karaka Millions and 4 Group 1s. That's a record that's everybody would like to have, but when you look at them and the yearling sales, and when you buy them and when you break them in and when you bring them home, yes, you hope, but you don't expect that you're going to get this sort of result.
It gives me great pleasure to announce the 2022 SENZ Horse of the Year winner is none other than Probabeel.
Horse of the Year, that's really special because she was against some really good company like Melody Bell and Avantage and a lot of very, very good horses. And as owners and as breeders, that's what we want. We want to have the best horse. Wrong end, wrong end. That's the right end. Breakfast for champions.
All we can hope for now is her progeny will do what she did. And if she can do it, they can do half of that, we'll be really thrilled. But we won't sell any of her progeny. We'll keep colts and fillies, we'll keep them and we'll race them.
Joe's job is to name the horses, and I shouldn't say don't get involved, I'm not allowed to be involved.
The naming thing is, I really enjoy it, but it's not an easy task. With Probabeel, we wanted to actually add that Savabeel part to her name. I just want to get to know her a little bit, and in there, my granddaughter says that maybe we should keep the Beel part of it somehow, and we'll just see what happens as she gets to be in the next sort of 6 months or so. And then we'll see what her character is, and then we'll sort of look at naming her.
Adam Sangster himself has a wonderful European pedigree, and he knows what it takes to bring stallions such as Tornado to Swettenham Stud and taste Group 1 success. This season, a son of the great Wootton Bassett, Woodard, is calling Swettenham Stud home. Adam, this is just so picturesque, as Victoria always is in the middle of winter, beautiful and green, and the breeding industry down here, it's really on an upturn, isn't it?
Oh, I've got to say, Caroline, this northeast corridor is absolutely thriving. I mean, you've seen what Yulong have done, you've now seen what Blue Gum Trilogy have done, Dorrington Park's here. There's an enormous amount of investment up here. I mean, Yarran have just got exponentially bigger, and all up this Goldmine river, which is a forgotten river. I mean, it's the longest river in Victoria. I mean, it's a sort of artery through all these properties. It's a foundation for great weather, Mediterranean climate, loamy, good Mediterranean soil sort of thing, just over the Dandenong Ranges.
Yeah, and it's become a bit of a tourist hub too. I mean, obviously Mitchelton Winery is just outstanding as a restaurant, and the whole area, the way it's been done up, is just magnificent.
Oh, Mitchelton is just a great sort of figure piece. It's just been voted for the second year running the Rural Boutique Hotel of Victoria. So it's got a 50-room hotel room in there, and it's just got 3 or 4 great restaurants, and well worth going there.
Woodard at the moment is just the strongest as they race towards the line.
We're talking about Woodard, of course, the son of Wootton Bassett, who's just a sire on fire globally and obviously standing at Coolmore in the Hunter Valley. But tell me about how you came to get Woodard, because I know you saw the foals, you had the great relationship with Al-Shakab through Tornado in particular, but tell us the story.
Yeah, well, Benoit, who runs Al-Shakab, he said, listen, you've got to come up and have a look at Woodard's foals. I mean, are ironically, they'd actually bought Aushorse, a couple of mares, old Sangster mares. They said, we've gone to some of the best stallions here in France and in Europe, and yet the wooded foals are the best. And so he showed me those, and really with what Almanzur was doing over in New Zealand, and obviously Coolmore, I mean, that's a massive investment for them, and they don't usually step out of a crease, so they knew something, and they follow the money. And it just sort of reminds me a little bit of Danehill's time, when Danehill first came down here, a little bit like Wootton Bassett. Okay, Wootton Bassett's proven, but we've got the fastest son of Wootton Bassett. He equivalently won the Lightning here in Australia, being the Prix Labbe over 1,000 metres, and his foals are exceptional. And so, his best sons, Danehill's best sons, were Exceed and Excel, Fast at Rock, and Redouts.
And the sire line has just continued through, as you said, Almanzor in New Zealand, but they all have this magnificent look about them, don't they?
Oh, they really do. And he himself, as a physical, he'll really suit Australian mares, and that's proved it with foals we've seen so far. So we're pretty excited, and the good judges who've seen him and have known him and watched him race have really been pretty excited about what they've seen. So, we're just lucky that we've got a relationship with Aushorse, and they're certainly supporting him. They sent a couple of mares down here, which is the first time, so they realise how important Australia is and how important it is supporting Australia. So it's good news all around, Caroline, and I recommend anybody, if they want to come to Swettenham or the surrounding area, do come and see us.
On the right of picture is Wooded.
Sam, it's just great to see Wooded here today, son of Wootton Bassett, as of course we've said. But I just love how, even as a young horse, he's so masculine. That jowl is enormous, and it just has a real presence, doesn't he?
It's a beautiful horse, lovely walking horse, and we've seen that in all of his foals so far as well. They've got the beautiful Ifraj head and Ifraj skin, a lot like Wootton Bassett and Almanzor, and he's just a lovely horse to do anything with. You can take your kids and put him on his back if you want to, and he'd happily stroll around, and as soon as it comes to covering time, it's a different story.
But it is just a really developing sire line, and it is one of the world's elite sire lines.
It is, and that's why we really wanted to chase Wooded, being the fastest son of Wootton Bassett and the only son of Wootton Bassett in Australia. It's an emerging sire line, as I'm sure Adam referenced, with Danehill coming out and that sort of continuation through and getting in at the ground level. This is the right time to do it, and we do put a lot of effort and a lot of time into why we choose these particular stallions. Sioux Nation was a good example, Tornado's a good example, and we believe Wooded has a massive, massive chance.
Inside the final furlong, out in front is Bucanero Fuerte.
And even better, of course, the full brother to a now Group 1 winner, Bucanero Fuerte, winning the Irish Phoenix Stakes. It was just outstanding timing on the cusp of the breeding season.
Yeah, it was actually amazing because we had a parade the next day, so I had to wake up at 2:30 in the morning to watch the race, and then stay awake for the Arcana sale, where his first foal made 250 and his half sister made 4 million. And then to see Bucanero Fuerte get there, they're just so tough. And when he won the Prix Labbe, the caller said he was home, and I think the horse knew he was home, but everyone else wasn't too sure. But they're just tough. They get there, and they're very, very exciting.
But it's Wood and Pierre-Charles Rudeau.
John Foote, that buys a few horses for us, obviously bought quite a few Wootton Bassets out here for Sandy McGregor and Jerry Ryan, and we didn't know much about him, back 5-6 years ago, and not many people did. But wow, hasn't he come with a bang? But I think he's going to be an excellent stallion with what he's done with such small crops. Wootton Bassett, Woody can do it. His first crop of mares in France, 80% were the black type producers or black type themselves. Just incredible. I don't think there's a stallion in Australia that can boast those stats. So it's amazing. He's fertile, he's fast. He's not a typical 1,000-metre horse, so he can cover those nuggety little sprinting mares. And yeah, we're going to support him really heavily.
Yeah, speed on speed with a little bit more sort of substance there as well, isn't there? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, you can't send those 15-2 speed little machines to another 15-2 stallion. So this way you still get the speed, you get a bit of leg. I think it's a perfect scenario.
Yeah, and the reception from Victorian breeders?
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and we took him up to the Hunter last year, and that was really well received. But Victorians love him. It's unusual for people to walk away from our parade and not talk about Tornado, but this year all they were talking about was Wooded.
Well, it complements what is a fabulous roster. I mean, Tornado obviously doing a wonderful job as the son of High Chaparral, and those European sire lines really work here at Swettenham Stud.
Yeah, I think we're known for it. We've obviously Tornado being a miler, but we needed something a bit sharper and a sharp European, and I think we're onto a very, very good winner.
And of course your father, Robert Sangster, was involved obviously with the very first of the modern era shuttlers, linking up with Coolmore as well and C.S. Hayes in the day. But you're now a passionate Victorian, but how much do you reckon your international pedigree drives you to seek out these sorts of horses? I mean, it's come full circle, hasn't it, for you?
No, you're totally right. I am very Victorian, sort of eccentric, but Christ, I love Australia, love New Zealand. I've been getting up a lot more to Hong Kong as well, obviously with all the Tornados, but really those international pedigrees, we're always looking. I mean, I've got a very strong family over in Europe. I mean, my nephew Ollie started to train at Manton. My brother Sam is a very experienced sort of syndicator and doing a very good job. And of course my elder brother Ben Sanks is one of the champion breeders up there. So we're constantly in contact with each other and with sales and what's going on up there. So really we sort of do have a good network of truth.
Always wonderful to catch up with Adam and the team at Swettenham Stud, and they're in for another big spring. Coming up after the break on Bred To Win, it's always great to catch up with Stud staff, and this week it's Yulong Farm's Claudia McDougall in Arrowfield Stud's Horse Who Made You Love Racing.
The horse that made me love racing was a filly called Attraction. She was a 5-time Group 1 winner in the UK. I think what made her more interesting was the fact that she was confirmationally she shouldn't have been a racehorse, and she was the complete underdog for a lot of people just on how she looked. And I was 14 at the time, and she won the Guineas in Newmarket and went on to win the Irish Guineas as well. We just followed her. I always watched racing with my mum, but she was the one that just sticks in my memory, being a teenager and just following her career. And I was really fortunate to actually be able to work with her later on when I got into the stud work. Foaled her a couple of times as well, and yeah, she was actually the reason I met my partner as well. So she's great.
It's
great
interesting.
mare.
We hear people talk about we need to talk about the 18 to 25s. The love of the horse and love of racing and breeding actually kicks in when you're a younger person, isn't it? And it is about the horse, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. Going up and actually being able to talk to the horses and see them and work with them, it makes such a difference. You know, you can see them on TV, but actually being up close with them and having that interaction is so important. And you see all their different personalities and you see how different they all are, and yeah. And
it's taken you around the world. I mean, the love of that horse and getting involved in the industry, it opens up a whole new world for people, doesn't it?
Oh, 100%. I mean, obviously I'm from the UK originally, came over to Australia last year. This industry is incredible. People don't realise that it can take you around the world, and you can go places around the world and still know people or have people in common, which is, you know, for young people can be quite important that they do know someone there. And in a lot of other equestrian industries, you just don't get that option. It is something that you can make a real career out of. Coming to Australia and being able to work for an operation like Yulong, growing so big, and you know, it's just really exciting, and I'm really happy to be involved with it all.
This is a one-horse race. If ever you saw a one-horse race, this is it.
That is Bred To Win for this week. Don't miss next week's show as we feature Coolmore Stud and their young son of Schnitzel, Best of Bordeaux. That and much more next week. I'm Caroline Searcy. I'll see you then.
Bred To Win, brought to you by Arrowfield, the home of 4-time champion sire Schnitzel.